This video was made possible by our sponsor, Warpath, a real-time strategy game inspired by the events of World War II. If you're a fan of history, you'll love the stories inspired by real battles and events, such as the beach landings at Normandy on D-Day and the defense of Moscow, and many more. Learn real facts about tanks used in these legendary battles while you upgrade your realistic World War II units and weapons for decisive victories. Did you know the Sherman Firefly was an upgraded Sherman with a 17-pounder anti-tank gun that could penetrate Tiger tank armor? You can be as involved as you want, micromanage your troops, or send them headlong into battle to fend for themselves. The choice is yours, Commander. With epic storylines, massive maps, and the ability to forge alliances with other leaders, drive your army to victory with this gripping, in-depth gameplay experience, learning real military facts along the way. Download and play Warpath using the link in the description. Use this bonus code to receive a ton of in-game rewards, and check out the giveaway page, and invite your friends to join to have a chance to win a PS5, Switch, or Amazon gift cards. Inspire your troops and lead them to victory. You are in command now. The German officer who died saving the enemy. World War II. Battle of Hürtgen Forest, November 12, 1944. On November 12, 1944, soldiers of the American 12th Infantry Regiment and the German 275th Infantry Division confronted each other in the Battle of Hürtgen Forest, southwest of the town of Aachen in Germany. During the longest battle of the Siegfried Line campaign, this was another bloody day. The Allied troops were penetrating the Siegfried Line, a fortification system along the German border. The Germans, facing an offensive from the Allied forces, gave a fierce resistance to their efforts. The battle took place at Hürtgen Forest, and lasting 89 days, saw no breakthrough of the German defenses. Hürtgen Forest, an area covering 54 square miles, was littered with concrete bunkers, barbed wire, booby traps, and minefields. The late autumn, bringing mud and snow, made these obstacles almost invisible, and the forest itself was guarded with many German troops. The size and density of the forest hindered the American capabilities, preventing the use of their air force. This left the Allied forces one course of action: direct infantry assaults against the German line. As neither side gave way to the other, thousands of lives were lost in the ensuing battle. One of the lost lives was Lieutenant Friedrich Lengfeld, a German officer who had died trying to save an enemy soldier. Lieutenant Friedrich Lengfeld was commander of the 2nd Company of the 275th Infantry Division. They were in direct conflict with the American 12th Infantry Regiment. The primary target of the conflict was a small forester lodge along the forest road. The battle for this lodge lasted weeks. Despite being a small, ramshackle building, it provided good shelter for the holding unit and an overview of the enemy's positions. Complicating matters greatly was a minefield situated just next to the lodge. The Germans called it the Wild Sow. Before November 12th, the lodge changed hands several times. The Germans and Allied forces lost many men in their attempts to claim and in turn reclaim the land. Soldiers suffered exhaustion, enduring terrible conditions, muddy foxholes with little food and water. Most were fatigued, some suffering from shell shock. American soldiers charged the lodge, capturing it from the Germans. Shortly afterwards, the Germans launched counterattacks to retake the house. They believed the Americans would not expect such a rapid response. They were correct. Caught unaware, the American soldiers retreated in panic. The entire force holding the lodge dispersed. One soldier ran straight into the Wild Sow minefield. The unfortunate American soldier who found himself amongst the mines suffered severe wounds. Bleeding out heavily, the soldier cried out for help. During combat, soldiers can become sympathetic to their enemy. In this case, it was a dire situation for the American who had wandered into the minefield. Hearing the American soldier suffer, Lieutenant Lengfeld issued an order to his machine gunners protecting the road that they should not shoot at the enemy. Of course, this was to allow the Americans time to rescue their injured comrade. A few minutes passed, and realizing nobody would be coming, Lengfeld decided he would attempt to rescue the injured American. Abandoned, his comrades had likely believed him to be dead whilst fleeing the area around the lodge. Langfeld began to make his way towards the soldier, leading a medical team alongside him. The road they would now be walking down was littered with anti-tank mines, which Langfeld knew well enough. His unit were the ones who placed them down. However, the anti-personnel mines in the Wild Sow created issues for Langfeld. Barely making it a few feet into the minefield, Langfeld set a mine off, leaving himself now injured and on the ground. The medical team he brought rushed him to the company command post. Suffering internal injuries, Lieutenant Langfeld succumbed to his wounds later that day. The fate of the U.S. soldier is unknown. Lieutenant Friedrich Langfeld was buried along 28,000 of his comrades in the war cemetery on the outskirts of the forest, in which he died trying to save the enemy's life. His enemies, veterans of the 22nd U.S. Infantry, set up a monument to honor his great deed. A part of the epitaph states, "No man hath greater love than he who layeth down his life for his enemy."